How about Jared Goff? I've been looking at film with Jared Goff. I kind of settled on he's good enough. He's fine. He's maybe similar to the Andy Dalton line you mentioned, where I don't have any problem with Jared Goff. I think he makes some mistakes, but he's growing. I get why they like him. He does enough good things for me to support him. Is that kind of how you feel about Jared Goff?
He's fine.
Yeah.
I the thing that I really like about Jared Goff is the accuracy, and the dude throws such a pretty deep ball.
He does.
I mean, it is gorgeous. Like him and Kyler, when the Rams and Cardinals play, like you'll see 10 fades alone in that game between both of them, where you're just like, good God, that's a good ball. It's so easily catchable. He's accurate. I would say McVay does a little bit more between the ears than a lot of other coaches do.
Yep. Absolutely.
But that's also kind of, Sean's style. Like I've seen a couple Rams game in person now at the Coliseum, one of which I was sitting 7 rows back from the Rams bench. And I was literally watching Sean the entire time. I mean, he was just chattering. And then you hit 15 seconds on the clock and the play sheet goes down. Like he's telling them rotations. He's telling them front. Like he's telling them everything.
He's half playing quarterback.
Yeah, which is fine. It works for them.
Yeah.
But I also, I do think that McVay helps Jared more than Jared helps McVay, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I wonder if he had a different quarterback, would he be considered a control freak, or would the quarterback, how would that?
I think he would do that regardless of who his quarterback. I think that's just Sean's coaching style, because he's such a brain. Like he's brilliant. He's always going to be feeding information.
I love the way I've been watching I watched a little bit of Hard Knocks last night. I love the way Sean McVay interacts with his players. He's such a player's coach. Like you as a player, like I'd want to be around him. I'd want to play for him. He seems like a good guy. Is that your kind of impression of him?
Oh, he's great. He's one of my favorite coaches in the league. And like, if I was 6'6" and ran 4'4", like he's somebody I'd love to play with. But alas, I was not blessed with those talents. But he's one of the coaches that I would take less money to play for Sean McVay. I believe that strongly in him. Now Jalen Ramsey just got paid $20 million, so clearly he disagrees with me. But
he's happy, dude. You seen his compound in L.A.?
Oh, it's
Jalen
crazy.
Ramsey looks like great.
He's doing
good
fine.
for him.
He's doing just fine.
Let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. As I look at the NFC West, you have Russell Wilson. You have, I think, Jared Goff, solid. I think Kyler Murray. I have a big man crush on Kyler Murray. I think he's incredible.
Oh, he's amazing.
And I look at Jimmy Garoppolo and I go, I think Jimmy G, and this is going to make 49ers fans very, very angry. I think he's the worst quarterback in that division, and that's nothing shameful because that's a good division of quarterbacks. But would you agree with that? Am I crazy there?
Russell's better.
Goff or Jimmy G for me.
Yeah, which is to say, like the worst quarterback in the division is above average.
Yeah,
which
for sure.
It's not saying he's worse.
No,
below
maybe
average.
It's inflammatory to say he's the worst, but I think there's 3 other better quarterbacks.
Yes, because Russell is top 2. Behind only Pat, in my opinion.
Yep.
Kyler is already top 10.
Yep.
And then it's kind of a debate, okay, in between 10 and 16, which is just a collection of guys that are all kind of in the same category. It's like, okay, is he closer to the 10 or is he closer to the 16? I would say that he and Goff are better than each other at different things. I think Jimmy's better between the ears. I think when you watch him operate Kyle's offense, which is a little bit more hands-off, even though the systems are similar, they kind of emphasize different things, and the coaching styles are different. I think Kyle's a lot more hands-off when his quarterbacks are at the line of scrimmage. Jimmy has more control, or at least he has more freedom. And I would say Jimmy's really, really good between the ears, and he's very good at operating that system. As a thrower, Goff is more talented. Yeah. So I guess it depends on what you're prioritizing. I would say both quarterbacks are perfect for the coaches that they are under.
I love that. This maybe has no meaning and may not matter at all, but I think it's worth saying is that I hear Jared Goff interact with his teammates, and I go, that's kind of weird. He seems like a guy I wouldn't want to hang out with, like not get a beer with. Where Jimmy G, I'm like, this dude, the way he barks, the way he talks, the way he interacts, I think Jimmy G is a guy I'd rather play with. Is that crazy to me? Or crazy to you?
Jimmy picked up a lot from Brady in terms of how he leads. In terms of being fiery when he needs to, being personable when he needs to, encouraging and tough when he needs to be. Like he's he conducts himself weirdly a lot like Tom. Tom, I think as he got older, he was able to kind of pull off that anger fire a little bit more. And, yeah, exactly. He and Edelman would kind of rev each other up and just piss each other off the whole time. But then you watch Tom with Gronk, and it's kind of more lighthearted and everything like that. So Brady was able to kind of switch between these different personalities and give individual guys on his offense exactly the kind of leader that they needed. Jules, you need to yell at Jules because Jules, he needs to be coached hard, and Tom would give that to him.
And it motivates him.
Whereas Gronk, they were kind of more laid back together. I think Jimmy, you look at him with Kittle, and Kittle's a maniac. And, Jimmy gets super revved up with Kittle, and then you look at him with like Goodwin, and they're super chill. They're like, it's a different kind of vibe depending on who he's talking to. And I think he picked that up from Brady, and he's excellent at it.
Brady always talks about you have to treat certain guys the way they want to be treated. Like you have to cater your interactions to what they want and their style.
Yeah. So, you look at Edelman go up to Brady on the bench and say, "You're old." That's how they talk to each other.
Have you ever seen a Patriots game live?
No, I really wanted to go this season until the world ended.
You poor dude. I went and watched because I figured it was Brady's last year in New England. And I was like, look, I'm going to scrounge. This is back before I made anything like survivable. I was like, I'm going to scrounge together all my savings and go with my dad to watch the Bengals and Patriots in Cincinnati. And I got to see it. I got to watch them win. I'm not a Patriots fan, but I love Tom Brady. He was my idol as a kid. And watching him on the sideline, interacting, playing catch, yelling at Jules, it was so much fun to get to see that before I died. I got to see Tom Brady play live. It was so awesome.
I was going to go to the Tampa and Vegas game in primetime this year. But there's no fans at Vegas, which sucks. But, my brother-in-law's a huge Bucs fan. We were going to road trip it out, make a weekend out of it. I was going to go see Tom. So hopefully Tom doesn't retire after this year, because if he does, I will be heartbroken. And I will pay any amount of money next year to go to a Bucs game live.